What if a city could predict natural disasters like floods, earthquakes, or tsunamis before it even happens? Or if a single dam could power 300 million people? Or what if an electric vehicle factory was bigger than an entire city? Sounds impossible, right? Well, it's not. The future is here. China is already making it happen. Right now, China is pouring billions of dollars into some of the biggest, boldest, and most mind-blowing projects the world has ever seen. From cities that can outsmart disasters to engineering marvels straight out of a sci-fi movie. In this video, we're breaking down 5 of China's craziest megaprojects that are under construction in 2025. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with number 5 project on our list, which is the ICBC funding the tech growth. Imagine you're China, and you're dependent on other countries for your technological needs. What would you do? We don't know about you, but here's what the Chinese government did. On March 12, 2025, the biggest bank in the world, the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, ICBC, announced a huge $11.04 billion fund to help Chinese tech companies grow. You know, right now, over 60% of China's semiconductors and other raw materials are being imported from like Taiwan, South Korea, and the US. And every year, China spends over $300 billion just to buy them. That's a huge problem. So China came up with a plan for this funding the very need of the technology. It's raw materials. They would fund their tech-oriented companies like Shenzhen, Beijing, and Shanghai to start producing their own raw materials. Their goal is to make 80% of these chips at home by 2030. But that's not all. China is also planning an even bigger tech fund, worth 1 trillion yuan, $140 billion. If this works, China won't have to rely on other countries anymore. What happens if they actually pull this off? Well, China will not only make your smartphones, but also design the brain inside them. Huawei, ByteDance, and SMIC don't have to worry about Western bans or sanctions because they have everything they need at home. AI gets faster. Devices get cheaper. The global balance of power shifts. But not everyone is cheering. Some experts believe this could backfire, big time. When governments pour billions into an industry, smaller companies often get crushed. If you're a startup that doesn't get government money, how do you compete with billion-dollar giants? There's another side as well. Some believe that this money will just disappear in bureaucratic black holes, bad investments, and maybe even corruption. And then there's the biggest concern of all. Is China putting all its eggs in one basket? By focusing so much on semiconductors, are they ignoring other crucial sectors like biotech and clean energy? But here's the real question. What if they succeed? What happens if, 10 years from now, China controls not just manufacturing, but the technology that powers the world? Will it surpass the US in this sector? Only time will tell. For now, we are moving on to our number 4 megaproject on the list, and that is the Intercity Rail Network in Eastern Guangdong. If you know about Eastern Guangdong, you know one thing. Getting around is a headache. Traffic is slow, roads are packed, and if you need to travel between cities like Shantou, Shanwei, Chaozhou, and Zhejiang, you better be ready for long, frustrating trips. So China's next investment is fixing this problem. They are constructing an intercity rail network with the goal of easing the travel by the year 2027. This project started in 2023 under the leadership of Guangdong provincial government. If they achieve this goal, their public won't have to spend multi-hour commutes. But wait, this is not just about making travel easier. It's about powering growth. If you look at the broader perspective, you'll notice that faster commutes mean stronger businesses, more tourism, and better connections to airports and major trade hubs. People can work in one city and live in another without spending half their day in transit. So that's going to be very beneficial for the economic growth as well. But big projects like this don't always go smoothly. Some people worry about land displacement. Since a rail is being constructed, so homes and businesses already in the area might have to move. But that's not it. Environmental cost is another big factor. What happens when massive rail lines cut through green spaces and local ecosystems? The natural ecosystem of China would be disturbed, as China is aiming to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. This act can create some problems. Then there's the issue of money. The project is being funded by government money and private investors, with backing from the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIB. But what if the costs spiral out of control? What if it doesn't deliver what was promised? But now, let's flip the script. What if this actually works? If it works, the travel time between Shantou to Chaozhou would be cut short to 30 minutes instead of 2 hours. Flights would be easier to catch, businesses can expand, and workers have more opportunities. Life gets faster, simpler, better. But again, we can only hope for the best. Now, let's move on to the number 3 megaproject on our list, the BYD electric vehicle factory. The BYD electric vehicle factory in Zhengzhou. To achieve the goal of carbon neutrality, China is making one of its biggest investments in electric vehicles. To meet the skyrocketing demand, China is constructing a massive EV production hub, one so large that it surpasses the entire city of San Francisco. Located in Zhengzhou, this factory is a self-sustaining city with a mission. You heard that right. It spans over 50 square miles, and the complex includes not only workspaces but also housing, entertainment facilities, soccer fields, tennis courts, and even space for a stadium. This development ensures they have everything they need in one place. But why build something on such a massive scale? The answer lies in efficiency. Chinese automaker BYD, seeing an opportunity in the booming EV market, invested $1.2 billion to create a vertically integrated hub where cars and batteries are built in the same location. The goal is to achieve faster production, lower costs, and an output of over 1 million EVs per year, pushing China closer to its clean energy vision. Of course, not everyone sees this as a perfect solution. Critics worry that if EV sales slow down, the project could turn into a ghost city. Others raise concerns about environmental impact and the factory's heavy reliance on human labor. Big changes never come without challenges, and this project is no exception. Despite these concerns, the factory is moving ahead. The first phase was completed in April 2023, and as of March 2025, additional sections are still under construction. Once fully operational, the project is expected to generate around 60,000 jobs. With such an ambitious project underway, could this be the blueprint for future smart factories, or a cautionary story of overinvestment? Only time will tell. Let's move on to number 2 on our list, which is the Chongqing Smart City Initiative. China is building a city that can predict problems before they happen and fix them right away. Straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But it's real. In 2024, Chongqing began transforming into a smart city to improve buildings, transportation, and public services using advanced technology. One of the biggest upgrades is a digital twin. This is like a virtual copy of the city's most important systems, like gas, water, and pipelines. By the end of 2025, this system will track everything in real time. If a pipe starts leaking, the city will know instantly and fix it before it becomes a big problem. But the smart city plan goes way beyond that. Chongqing is also using AI, big data, and the Internet of Things, IoT, to connect everything. By early 2024, more than 6.68 million sensors had already been installed. These devices keep an eye on traffic, air quality, and public safety. That way, the city can run smoothly 24/7. It's not over yet. Chongqing's metro system already covers 575 kilometers as of January 2025, and it's still growing. This would make the commutes faster and easier for millions of people. Life in the city is improving in other ways, too. The government is creating 15-minute high-quality living circles. This means markets, parks, and elderly care centers will always be close by, so people don't have to travel far for daily needs. But who's paying for all of this? A 500 million yuan fund from the government and private investors is driving smart city innovations. So here's one big question that remains. Could Chongqing become the blueprint for future cities around the world? What do you think? Would you live in a city that's ever evolving on its own? Let us know in the comments. Now, the number 1 megaproject on our list is so insane that it almost doesn't seem real. It's bigger, riskier, and more powerful than anything China has ever built before. The Yarlung-Tsangpa River Hydropower Dam. The most mind-blowing and ambitious project on today's list is the Yarlung-Tsangpa River Hydropower Dam, a dam so powerful that it could generate 3 times more electricity than the biggest dam in the world today. China plans to build this mega dam in Tibet, near the Indian border, to power over 300 million people and push toward a clean energy future. But here's the catch. It will be built in one of the deepest canyons on Earth, where the river drops an incredible 7,667 meters. To make this work, engineers will have to drill 6 tunnels, each 20 kilometers long, through the enormous Nangcha Barwa Mountain. These tunnels will redirect half of the river's flow to power massive turbines. But here's the problem. This area sits right on a tectonic plate boundary, which means it's one of the most earthquake-prone zones in the world. So, why is China pushing so hard for this project? As we already mentioned, the country is racing towards carbon neutrality by 2060. The Yarlung-Tsangpa River is perfect for hydropower because it will produce 300 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity annually, helping China move away from coal and other polluting energy sources. However, neighboring countries like India and Bangladesh are worried that the dam could change their water supply and damage their ecosystems. Environmentalists warn that it might harm the fragile Tibetan Plateau, affecting wildlife and increasing the risk of earthquakes. And that's not all. Many Tibetan communities may be forced to leave their homes to make space for the project, raising major concerns about human rights and cultural loss. Then there's the cost. This dam is expected to cost more than $137 billion. The Chinese company PowerChina and the Tibet Autonomous Region government are leading the project. It was officially approved in December 2024, but no one knows exactly when construction will start or how long it will take. With rough terrain and constant earthquake risks, delays are almost guaranteed. If this dam is completed, it will create thousands of jobs and boost industries like transportation and construction. But at the same time, Tibetan families could lose their land, and farmers in India and Bangladesh might struggle with water shortages. So, will this dam become China's greatest engineering achievement or one of the biggest mistakes in modern history? Again, only time will tell. But one thing is certain, it's going to change the region forever. What do you think? Are these projects worth the risks? Or is China making a huge mistake? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you support a project like this in your country? Let's discuss.